QUAI network is finally live on mainnet. On February the 4th, the QUAI Foundation mined the first Genesis block, which marked the start of the new era of QUAI on mainnet. So what is QUAI network? If you haven't heard of it, I already made several videos that you can go have a look at. But long story short, it is a layer 1 blockchain that is based on a proof of work consensus mechanism. That is actually proof of entropy minima, but it is a work-based consensus mechanism. It is basing it off the Bitcoin ethos, but it is also EVM compatible, and the main distinguishing feature of it is the dual token model. And the first token is called QUAI. The QUAI token is EVM compatible, that is used for building applications, and it has a more of a similar supply curve to Bitcoin. And the second token is QI, which is more known as the energy dollar, which is the first crypto-native flat coin. So there is a difference between flat coins and stable coins. Stable coins are pegged to the price of something, and flat coins are they are built to maintain their price over time, but they're not pegged. So this flat coin is tied to the prices of energy, and the connection is done through mining. So there is actually the controller mechanism that is out there. I will leave the link to the docs if you'd like to read on that further. But in this video, I would like to warn you that QUAI network is not yet listed on any exchanges. So right now it's February the 7th, so it's Friday, and the only way to get your hands on some QUAI is through mining. And there are three main ways to mine. So there are multiple ways depending on how much hardware you have and how involved you'd like to be. So the first way is the easiest, likely it's, I guess you can argue these two are the easiest, is a cloud mining, where you have your own node, but you rent a GPU somewhere and then you use that computing power to mine to your own node. The second way is through mining through a pool. It's when you have your own GPUs, but you don't have a node, and then you mine to a pool and you join a bunch of other miners all around the world, and then you get your rewards distributed to your wallet periodically from that pool. And the third way is the most resource intensive. It's solo mining, when you have your own node and you have your own GPUs. QUAI uses ProcPow as a hashing algorithm for mining, so you would need a pretty powerful GPU for this one because it's pretty intensive for the resources, and it is ASIC resistant as well, so there is no way to mine with an ASIC. I googled the list of GPUs that are ProcPow friendly, but you can of course do your own research. I will leave some links to the top rankings of GPUs in the description. So some NVIDIA GPUs that are known to be pretty good are RTX 3070, 3080, 3090, and 4090. And for AMD, that is 6800, 6900, and 7900 XTX. That was for the GPUs, and you'll also need at least 8 gigabytes of memory for the video card. And as for the node requirements, they are in the docs. So you will need pretty hefty requirements for the node. That's a fast CPU with over 16 cores, 64 gigs of RAM, fast SSD with at least 3 terabytes of free space, and a very fast download internet service. So that's likely going to be the main caveat for most people that are not going to be able to run their own node. However, if you have Google Fiber or something like that, that could work for you. If you actually do have a machine that's hefty enough to run a node, or you have a server somewhere that you're renting, you can then rent a cloud GPU. There are several providers that QUAI has partnered with. Those include Clore, VastAI, Akash, and at some point IONET. So I will show you in this video the example of Akash. However, there is also a written tutorial for Clore, and you can literally just use this for VastAI because they're all very similar in how they work. So you just set up your node, and the node setup is practically the same as the Golden Age node setup. I already filmed the video for that. Once your node is set up and you have your IP and your port is open, you can go ahead to your cloud provider. As I mentioned, there are multiple of them. So we can go ahead to Akash console, and then we go into templates. And in here, we can find QUAI in mining with GPU. Click on QUAI network. And here you will click on deploy. You'll need to make sure that you already have an account. It was very easy. I just signed up with my email, but you can also sign up with your wallet. Depending on a cloud provider, they might ask you to use their own token to pay for the services. For example, Clore uses their Clore token to pay for that. However, Akash uses dollars as well, so that could be more convenient for some people. Once you create your account for Akash, you get a trial for $10, which is 10 credits to start mining. It is not much, but it is useful to, I guess, try things out and see, feel things out, how they work. Once you go here, you need to go to the builder side. You don't need to change anything here. There are no specific requirements for the CPU, so you can just leave it as 1. GPUs, let's just leave it as 1 for an example, but you can literally put 8 if you would like. But the higher the number, the it may be more difficult or more time consuming to find the providers for you. Also, let's choose a specific GPU. I would like to use nvidia, let's say 3090 or whatever is here. Memory, it is not specified, so we can just use the defaults here. You'll need at least 8 here, 8 gigabytes. And other than that, there are no specific requirements, so you can leave it as is. The key things to configure here is the environment variables. So it is very similar to how you would set up mining on your own machine. So stratum IP is the stratum we just got set up on our node machine. So you paste in your IP, the stratum port. By default, it is 3333. So if you didn't change it, it's going to be like this for you as well. And the platform, it will depend on what type of GPU you're using. So because we are renting out an NVIDIA GPU, and that seems to be the only ones that are available in Akash, that is set to be U. However, if you are using an AMD GPU, that would be a G. And that is all set up and clarified in the docs if you ever need to reference that. I pasted in my IP and just clicked close. It is saved automatically. And then you can click create deployment. And from that point on, you just click confirm. And it leads me to this page. We have to wait for the bids or for the providers with their GPUs to come and say, yes, I'll take that job and mine QUAI for you. And it may take some time. Right now, I've been waiting for a couple of minutes. It may be the case that they are not there. So it says like there should be bids by now. Yeah, it just appeared. You can wait longer in case a bid shows up or close the deployment and try again with a different configuration. So for example, if I didn't find the 3090, I can confirm and close my deployment and then probably choose a different GPU that could be more spread out. So we can actually go ahead and check the providers that are out there and see what GPUs are here. RTX 3090, there is one, H100, RTX 4090, and we see which ones are out here. There are 19 GPUs, 4090s, so we can try with 4090s because as you can see, there are quite a few. Since Akash took quite some time to find me a bidder for my GPUs, we can probably go ahead and I can show you clore as well, but you can figure it out once you get a bidder. You just click to choose a provider and then you go ahead with the payment and it is all set up from there. Once you go to clore, the marketplace and everything looks pretty similar in the interface, just with different colors. You need to log in or create your account, which is I'm going to do. I'm going to create an account. So I just registered my account, and here in the overview, you can see there are two options to top up your balance. One is BTC and the other one is clore. You can get clore from exchanges. I don't have any clore right now, but it is pretty easy to deposit and withdraw. And I know it's pretty big marketplace that many people have used in the past, so I would trust this to not steal your money for now, but I cannot vouch for anything because I haven't used it myself long enough. So once you're on here, you just go back to the marketplace and you choose the GPU you would like. Honestly, I would just go back and choose the 4090 again. And I choose this GPU and I click rent. Also, basically, take a note that it's shown is in USD because I chose to show it in USD, but you'll have to pay in clore. And it is much cheaper in comparison to other providers. Could be bad or could be good. There are, depending on providers, there are different ratings, and some providers seem to be not as honest. I'm not sure how that works, but I heard of experiences of people that ordered a particular GPU, but they did not seem to behave exactly like the GPU that was described, and that was as if that GPU was kind of weaker. I'm not sure what's up with that. I'm pretty sure clore is trying to do their due diligence, but let's just go ahead and try to click rent from here. and I will show you how to set up your image and everything for QUAI. So in here we have the custom image, and the custom image is the same as we had already pre-filled in Akash, and we can also take it from the QUAI docs. In the QUAI docs there is this clore installation in the guides, and we go ahead to the configure clore instance and QUAI network go GPU miner run. We copy this and we go back to clore and we paste it in the custom image in here, and that's the one we choose. There are several environment variables, so let's start with the port. We start with a stratum port. The stratum port is going to be 3333. That's the default one. The next one is going to be stratum IP. That is going to be the same as in Akash. That is the IP of your node that we got. And then we are going to use the platform. Yeah, and then I'll paste U because I'm going to use an NVIDIA GPU, or at least I'm planning to. And that's basically it. Once you have the funds and you set it up like I showed, you're gonna be good to go. The only, I guess, difficulty here is getting clore to your account, as you'll need to use an exchange for that. But that's once you pass that, that should be pretty easy. That was a crash course into cloud mining. There are 3 main caveats with that. There could be not enough providers on a platform. In that case, you can go ahead and choose another platform. Second is getting the exact currency that's needed to pay for the services. However, you can figure that out if you have access to any exchanges. And the third caveat is not many people have access to a node. So the node requirements, as I said, are pretty hefty right here for QUAI network. So in that case, if you don't have a node, but you have, for example, GPUs and a lot of hardware that you'd like to deploy, you can connect to a mining pool. To start mining with a mining pool, you will need your own QUAI wallet where you will receive your QUAI tokens. If you don't have that yet, you can download it from pelaguswallet.io. You can just click on download, and I already have this. And you make sure that you are on the latest version of the Pelagus wallet, because there are new patches coming up with newer functions. So right now we are on version 1.0.34. And if you don't have this version, you make sure to enable developer mode, and then you click update. This will update all your extensions to the latest versions, and this is a very useful feature. And once you have your Pelagus wallet, you can go ahead, set up your mining software. That is the same as we did in the Golden Age setup. So the steps are practically the same right until the run step. In the run step, before doing that, you need to choose a mining pool you would like to use. There are several mining pools that support QUAI right now. That is luckypool, AlphaMine, Cryptex, Ola. I'm sure there are multiple others that have announced that they are supporting QUAI, but I haven't put in this article yet. To make sure you're up to date with the pools that support QUAI, you can go to the ecosystem page. The link will be in the description. And in here, you'll just search for pools, and you will figure it out from here. In this video, I'm going to use a Lucky Pool as an example, but feel free to use any pool you trust. I'm just using Lucky Pool because they were the first ones to deploy in QUAI testnet. So let's go to Lucky Pool. And in here, you see QUAI right on the first page. You click on that. You see the total terahash. There is 2.75 terahash per second right now, and share of this pool is 55 gigahash. So right here, you can go ahead and click how to mine. And in here, there are different softwares that we are using. Since I showed you the setup for the regular QUAI Networks docs software, we are going to use the QUAI GPU miner. However, if you prefer to use any other mining software, you can, of course, check it out. There are multiple ones that are linked right here. We also link them in the QUAI docs. I believe you can find them. Let me show you where. So if you go into guides, and in here under miner, you go into mining pools and software, and we add them here. But let's go back to the mining pool. And in here we go to QUAI GPU miner. And this is the run command you'll have to use instead of the regular mining command. So this includes your wallet address. That is the one you'd like to mine to. So for that, we just go to Pelagus. And in QUAI Network mainnet, we just take the wallet. You click on this. And you paste the address here. You create a name for your worker. It is whatever name you would like it to be. You don't have to set up the difficulty. And choose the stratum. Since I'm located in North America, I would be clicking here. If you're in Asia, you click Asia. Europe, you click Europe. That's self-explanatory. So we use QUAI GPU miner, and this automatically pasted in the variables from the configuration to here. So we can then copy this and paste it into our terminal during the mining setup. And that will start mining to a pool instead of our own node. If you would like to monitor how your mining is set up and how many rewards you have received, you can go ahead into your stats and payments in the your stats tab, and you input your wallet in here and you'll see it. There are also blocks that are mined by this mining pool, and the FAQ and support section that is very useful for most mining pools, and that I recommend you to have a look at before you go to any support. They usually answer the questions such as what is the regular payout time, why haven't I received my tokens yet, how long does it take to mine a block. Those are answered in here. But that's long story short for the mining pools. All you needed to do was, again, set up the command that is specifically set for the software you're using. There are different ways how the payments are sent to your wallet depending on the mining pool. So there are usually, for example, for luckypool, as I read, they have every hour that they sent out their rewards, or I think it was Cryptex. So basically, depending on the mining pool, they might have minimum withdrawal requirements or the minimum time that has to pass between different sendouts. So for example, it can be every hour you get the however much QUAI you mined during this hour sent to your wallet. But if it is below the minimum amount, or you haven't mined any blocks in that hour, nothing is going to be sent, obviously. So you just do it and you check out the different pools. You base your decision of the pool depending on their reputation, on your experience with them, their fees, because mining pools charge different fees. For example, AlphaMine, I believe, is doing like a promotion. If you have a QUAI Miner NFT, which is a big NFT project on QUAI network, then he is offering 0% fees for the mining pool. It's probably Cryptex that is offering 0% mining pool fee for the month of February. So basically, different mining pools are trying to get you to them in different ways, and you can choose whichever one you prefer based on your needs. And I recommend you to go ahead and look and check them out, each of them, and see which one you would like the most. Cloud mining and mining with a pool are the two easier ways if you don't have enough hardware or you're missing one of those. However, if you have both, solo mining is a great option for you. So solo mining is the most resource intensive. You need your own node and your own GPU. And here I have already made the tutorials as we see in this article. They are the same as the golden age mining. However, what you will need to do is use the correct Genesis nodes for the node setup and make sure you have the latest Pelagus version uploaded and the latest versions of the software like QUAI Stratum, and QUAI Miner, GPU Miner for that. And that is all pretty self-explanatory. You just use the latest tag. So I'll put in the videos of how to run your own node and run your own Stratum, the same from the golden age, into here. So as you can see in here, you can choose what your OS is, either Linux or Mac OS. So since I'm on Mac, I click on Mac, and you have to have a brew. That is the thing to install things. Yeah, very elaborate of me, but if you don't have brew, you can install it. I will leave a link how to install brew in the description to this video. Now we go to the git make and G++. You also click here on your macOS. If you're running on macOS, make sure that you change it. Then you click brew install git make. I likely already have that. Then you will need to clone the repository, which is also just copy and paste it here. It will take some time, so I'll just speed it up right now. Now you will need to check out the latest release. So you'll go to the Go QUAI releases page. That is a page in our GitHub from Dominant Strategies, and you can see that the latest version or a tag is here. So you copy it, or you can also paste it in. And then you say git check out, and then you paste the version, and then you press enter, and then you are using that version, and then you're good to go. you go back to the docs and continue the configuration of the node. In this testnet, we're having a slightly different configuration. If you also participated in the previous one, you don't have a configuration file. Instead, you used flags that you're going to paste right into your terminal to run the node. So let's get actually the commands. So here the docs explain to you what kind of flags there are and what each of them do. So there is QUAI coin bases, which are the addresses that you can that you have to put in where you are going to receive your QUAI rewards when you're mining. Then you have your Qi coin bases, which are the Qi addresses. When you're mining Qi, you will receive Qi to those addresses. I'll show you how to get them from your Pelagus wallet. Then there are also block rewards preference. So when mining, you by default mine more or less half and half Qi, half QUAI. That is by default. However, you can choose to mine fully QUAI or fully Qi. If it is 0, you have 100% QUAI preference, all your mining goes into QUAI, and 1 is 100% Qi preference, so all your mining goes into Qi. Qi mining is not yet possible because Qi is not yet live on mainnet. It goes live on March the 19th. From that point on, the network is in full-fledged and you can use the Qi and QUAI transactions. However, for now, you should only mine QUAI. So in your miner preference, you should choose 0 to only mine QUAI until Qi is live. Once Qi is live, you can, of course, adjust it and run the node again with a different miner preference. Then the next flag that you will have to put in is the slice. So at the moment, during the Golden Age testnet, as I mentioned, there is only one slice running. That is Cypress 1, and that is slice 00, as the docs suggest. And now let's actually go ahead and use all these flags to run and build our node. So we copy the example. I think that's the easiest way to do it, if you just copy and then replace the values. So I go and then I'll have to replace here the QUAI coin bases, Qi coin bases, and the node miner preference. QUAI coin bases is something you can get from your Pelagus wallet, and same as Qi. By the way, Pelagus is the only wallet that supports both QUAI and Qi, so you'll have to get your Qi coin bases there. So I'll show you how to do it, and for this process you need to make sure that you are on the latest Pelagus version. And if you're using an older version of Pelagus, it is not going to work, so be aware of that. So copy your QUAI address just by going in and make sure you're here in your QUAI account. You copy it and then you're good to go. You paste it right in your QUAI node coin bases. Then you go and then you replace the Qi coin bases. And here the process is a little bit different. So remove the sample value. And now to actually go and get your Qi coin bases, for example, this is not your Qi coin base. This is your Qi payment code. However, if you go into the settings by clicking on this three lines, and then you go into the Qi mining addresses. And here you get your Qi mining addresses. So I'll just create a new one for you to make sure. You can only create them for Cypress 1 because Cypress 1 is the only one that's running. And you copy this address and you should be good. And I will leave the node miner preference the same as it is in the sample, so 0.5, which gives me about 50-50 chance of getting QUAI and Qi. I'll have to put this node genesis nonce that I'm putting right here as a flag. Everything that you will have to use to run your node will be in the docs. In the node setup, the correct genesis nonce for mainnet has already been input into the docs. So you have all the docs updated for the mainnet mining. And as you can see, we are running. Looks very nice. And if you'd like to go, you can open another terminal or you can open another tab. You go into the checking sync process. Here there are different ways you can do it. The easiest and the most comprehensive one that you can do is just this one with the asterisk in there, which is basically like a wild card. As you can see here, I'm having my node logs running. If you would like to kind of stop this from happening, I will stop this just to show you what exactly each number means. The most important part here is the number. The number shows you what block height you are at. First number is the prime chain, second one is the region chain, then you have the zone. So prime, Cypress, Cypress 1. So let's go ahead and go into the guides and run Stratum proxy. That's where I already am. And everything in the setup is very similar to how it is in the node. So you'll only need to copy paste a couple of things. You'll first need to install the dependencies. You choose your macOS or Linux setup. We already installed Go during the node setup, so I'm not going to go ahead and do it. Then we already installed during the node setup everything in the second step as well. However, the third step is something you will need to do if you have not yet done it. I actually have done it already, but let me demonstrate it how it works. So you just paste it in like this. And then you end up in the QUAI Stratum repository, and you'll need to make sure that you are on the latest release. So you copy the latest release, that's right there. Go back into the docs and you say git checkout version, the latest version that you found, and you are good here. Then you'll need to configure, but actually the configuration is not required. You can just paste in the regular configuration doc and it will just be the same. You don't need to change anything there. But then you can go ahead and make go QUAI Stratum. Just copy that command and paste it in. And we're done. And now we can go ahead and run our proxy. So it's very easy. You can go ahead and build your proxy like this. So for most people, all you'll need to do is run your proxy this way. You will need to replace the region name and the zone name. So let's paste it in. The zone name, because we only have one zone running, you can check them actually right here, will be Cyprus 1. So we can copy it like this as well. And then the region will be Cyprus, because Cyprus 1 is a zone within Cyprus 1. Then it will also ask for connections. You allow that because it is a connection between different machines. So no worries about that. It's not a security or anything. And you are broadcasting your Stratum now. However, I'm not yet synced, so I'm just doing it for the tutorial. But once I'm synced and this number, or which is the same number that my node has, because Stratum is just showing, broadcasting whatever your node has to the mining machines so they can mine. So you can do that. You check the stats. Once the stats number, the prime height, region height, and zone height are the same as those for your Stratum and for your node, then you can go ahead and set up your miner. It does not make sense to mine while your node is not synced. It does not make sense to set up Stratum proxy while your node is not synced. Once that is set up, you are good to set up your miner, as I already mentioned. Today I'm installing for an Ubuntu machine, and you will have to have Ubuntu 20.04. You can try with other ones, but you might have to adjust the drivers that you're installing. I also have nvidia GPU that I'm going to be using. An important note here in the docs is that you cannot run your miner on a Windows machine because there are certain firewall rules that Windows has, and we do not have a build for it. If you'd like to run and you are on a Windows, you can dual boot using, for example, Linux, Ubuntu distribution like I have here. So you can dual boot your machine and have two operating systems on it. There are multiple tutorials on YouTube how to do that, but we are going to continue with our stuff on Ubuntu. We scroll down past introduction and we have the requirements here. So for that, you will need a synced QUAI node. As I mentioned, the tutorial is already on the channel. You can go check that out. It does not make sense to mine unless your node is already synced, because basically you'll be wasting hash and wasting electricity and money. So just don't do it. Wait until you're synced and check the QUAI stats. For that, I'll leave the link to the QUAI stats page to check whether you're synced or not in the description to this video. Then you will need to have your configured Stratum proxy that is basically on the same machine that your node is running on, that is broadcasting the node logs to your miner, so your miner mines on the proper, in the proper place. You'll need to have an Ubuntu machine with AMD or NVIDIA GPU and 4 GB of RAM on that. Likely more RAM is beneficial. It usually is to make the process faster, but you don't have to have more. And now we're going to go ahead and set up our environment. So I have my stuff in Ubuntu, as I mentioned. So we're going to go ahead and just follow the docs. It's very simple copy pasting. So there is a script in there and there are some downloads that you have to do. I'll just be copying and pasting the commands one by one. Once the first command is done with the downloading, you can go and deploy the miner file and make it executable with this command that you just copy and paste. You continue copy pasting and you run the script, which is the sudo deploy miner shell script. It's going to take about 10 minutes to complete. So once you create an output directory, that is basically the script created it for you, you will go and make the file executable by copy and pasting this command into your terminal. Once you're done with that, we go on to the dependencies and drivers. And in there, once we are already done with that, we make sure that our NVIDIA or AMD drivers are up to date. And here I have my NVIDIA GPU, so I'll need to use the NVIDIA drivers and everything. So I just copy and paste all the commands right until reboot. It might take a minute or two to install, and once you're done, you'll have to reboot or restart your computer. Once I press it, I will disappear. And welcome back. We just rebooted our system and we are ready to configure and run our miner. That is just one command. And here you have the NVIDIA and AMD command. It is just basically a couple of letters that are different, but make sure to pick the right one for your GPU. Here you will have to replace the stratum port and the proxy IP address. The default stratum port is 3333. So if you just followed my node tutorial from the previous video, it is 3333 for you as well. Don't change it. And if you changed it, I'm sure you know and you're aware that you changed it. So you just put the port in here. And the proxy IP address, it is the same address that your node has. So the machine where you're running your node and stratum proxy are usually the same machine. You figure out the IP address of that and you put it in this command. You can figure out in many different ways how to know your IP. So for example, you can go to Google and you can ask what's my IP address and it will basically give it to you because it knows your IP address. Or you can put this command, I'll put it on the screen, into the command line and it will also give you your IP address. So once you have that, make sure to keep it very close to you when you're running this command. I usually just prefer to change up the proxy IP address and stratum port by opening another browser tab, pasting this sample command in there, replacing the values, and then putting in the remade command back into my terminal. So that's what we are about to do. So open up a Firefox in this case tab. I paste in this example command, put my stratum port as 3333, and put the IP address of my proxy in here. Once I do that, I paste it into my terminal and there you go, you're running your miner. When you're mining, you can either get a workshare that is basically a part of the block, or you can mine a full block. That just depends on your basically total hash rate that you have. And workshare is just you are contributing some work into the block, but you do not mine the full block. And therefore you get a proportion of the rewards for the block. And just as the doc suggests here, again, it's an important reminder that if you are not synced and your node is not synced, it does not make sense to run your miner. You will not be profitable. It will actually be all invalid and you just waste your hash at that time. So wait until you're synced. There are snapshots that are posted regularly or will be posted regularly when I release this video on Discord. So we will keep you updated to make sure you're syncing as fast as possible. But it is just something you have to do. The syncing process is an important part of this running of the blockchain. And if you'd like to stop your miner, you can of course just close your terminal. But if you'd like to maybe pause it and rerun it later, you can just press Ctrl+C and this will stop your miner. So just to reiterate, QUAI goes live on March the 19th, and you should check out this article for the important timeline. I will leave the link to it in the description. So March 19th is a QUAI token launch, and another important date is QUAI transactions going live on February 19th. That's when you can start sending and receiving transactions in QUAI, and that's when you can start deploying your dApps on QUAI network. So you can do that if you'd like to just test it out on Orchard testnet. That's a public testnet like Ethereum has Sepolia, QUAI has Orchard, but you will not be able to do that on mainnet. On mainnet, February the 19th, again, that's when gas gets turned on, that's when transactions go live. And from that point on, it's much more kind of vivid activity in there. And also, you should not expect any listings or anything before February the 19th. And I would expect the token to be listed, the coin to be listed around February the 19th or a bit after that. Some other important details for mining are in the mining economics section in here. So the emissions algorithm is based on the hash rate. The initial block reward for now is 9.77 QUAI per block at 5 terahash. Right now, it is higher emission rate because the difficulty is lower than 5 terahash. As we saw, it was 2.75 on the luckypool page. And the Coinbase maturity period is 2 weeks. So that's when you mine the block, and that's when you receive your Coinbase reward. It becomes spendable in 2 weeks. So right now, honestly, it's not even relevant because transactions are not live. But in the future, the Coinbase maturity period of 2 weeks is going to stay the same. Even when transactions go live. And that's a common thing. Actually, most proof of work coins have a Coinbase maturity period that is just different, depending on the coin. That was all the practical details I wanted to share with you about mining, but there are plenty of more useful links that I would like to show to you. I will leave them in the pinned comment and in the description. That is QUAI stats, where you can monitor the current hash rate of the network and its health. And there is also QUAI scan, where you can check your wallet addresses and everything. But other than that, honestly, just let me know in the comments what exactly you would like to see in more detail, and I will film like a separate video for this whole section, like mining lockups, for example, to be explained. That was it for this video, though. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.